So my family moved here about 14 years ago, and we started Verve in my living room. And then about 13 years ago, we started meeting together in this building. And I want to tell you about the original vision of Verve. We dreamed of Verve being a church that was all about Jesus and the spiritual family that Jesus brought together and the mission that Jesus gave our spiritual family. Jesus gave us our mission in Matthew chapter 28, verses 18 through 20. It says, "Then Jesus came to them and said, 'All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you.'" When we began Verve, we envisioned reaching people who are far from God. We prayed that eventually hundreds of people might get baptized every year, and that we would help those people who were coming to faith to grow in their faith so that they might become radical followers of Jesus. We're told that in Ephesians chapter 4, that the church is to equip his people for works of service so that the body of Christ may be built up until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of God. So we dreamed about having like a world-class children's and student ministry and a recovery ministry that would help hurting people in Las Vegas to find healing. We were so excited about supporting local missions and foreign missionaries. So that's what we dreamed, but what has actually happened? Man, God has done amazing things in us and through us, and I am so grateful. We have seen hundreds and hundreds of people come to faith. In fact, a couple weeks ago, we hit 515 baptisms in our history. That's clap-worthy. Through our partnership with Pro-M in Poland, we helped start a church in Poland, and we've had a bunch of people go on mission trips there. Through our partnership with Central India Christian Mission, we've started 2 churches in India. We started a church in Ecuador, and about 100 of us sponsor kids in Ecuador through Compassion International. We have built houses for homeless families in Mexico. We serve locally through our partnerships with Refuge for Women and Scarlet Hope, who have ministries to women in the adult entertainment industry, through our partnerships with Renewing Life Counseling Center and Olive Crest, who work to prevent child abuse and neglect and help kids who have to go into the foster care system, and Cup of Hope, who allow us to serve the homeless and in our city. And God has done so much, and it's been amazing. At the same time, we've had struggles, some of which were accentuated by COVID and the 49-week shutdown we had from meeting in person. I think that our church has been 2 things over the years: fun and fragile. And most of you have only seen the fun. You haven't seen the fragile. Maybe the primary way we've been fragile is with our finances. So when you start a brand new church, typically what happens is you raise money from other churches and from your friends and just to help you get established. And so most churches rely on a lot of outside support that first year, and then maybe a little the second and third years. But as your offerings increase, you don't need that outside funding anymore. Well, it's been 14 years, and we have never moved out of the fundraising phase. So like in the first years of Verve, I had to raise $350,000 a year just to keep us going. And the last 8 years or so, I've had to raise about $200,000 a year to keep us going. The problem is that we keep on having less money coming in. So in 2021, we lost $50,000 of our outside support. 2022, last year, we lost another $30,000. And then this year, we've lost another $30,000. And so it's now gotten over $110,000 just in the last 2 years. And our finances are fragile. Now, lately, you probably have noticed our attendance is increasing, but at the same time, our offerings have been decreasing. And at the same time, the price of everything is going up. You're like, tell me about it. Eggs, right? The cost of gas and all the things that as a church we have to buy and pay for, they're going up as well, but especially our rent. So our building was sold in the middle of the shutdown, and our new landlord explained to us that what we were paying was not the going rate in Las Vegas, which was true, and that they were going to raise our rent over the next few years to get us up to the going rate. And so they immediately raised us $2,000 a month, so it was an extra $24,000 a year, and that's been a financial burden these last 2 years. And then this year we learned that they are raising our rent again, this time $6,000 a month. And so that's an extra $72,000 a year more than we're paying now. Unfortunately, those are the going rates in Las Vegas. They're not gouging us. If we moved to another building like this, we'd pay the same, maybe more. And all of that has put us in a seemingly impossible financial position. We already needed $200,000 extra than we have in our offerings, and then in 2 years we lost over $110,000 support. Our rent went up $96,000, and it just together created kind of a financial dead end. And to be clear, we are not overspending. We're not doing anything extravagant, except for we pay for Margaret to go to Hawaii every year. We do not do that. We do not do that. You may have noticed, if you've been around, that our staff went from 6 full-time staff members over the last few years. We went to 3 full-time staff members. The salaries we pay our staff are on the low end of acceptability. You can ask anyone who's worked here. Our staff doesn't go to conferences for pastors like other churches do, which leads to another way our church has been fragile with our staff. We have struggled to find and especially to keep good staff. We've had staff leave over and over and over, and every time a staff member leaves, the ministry area that they were overseeing, at least for a time, becomes fragile. Another cause of fragility, is that a word? I think that's a word, right? Is our people, the people who make up Verve. So we have mostly, it's a cool thing, we've mostly reached people who are very far from God, very new to following Jesus. Many have come to faith here, which is awesome, but it often takes time before that person will start giving generously, before they start volunteering, before they become a leader. At the same time, we've had tons of people who have moved away over the years. During the shutdown, we lost a lot of people. A lot of those people have moved and who have left were people who had grown to a place where they were giving and leading, and that's been tough. And one last fragile factor is me. So I am not going to be around forever. I'm older than you think I am. I deceive you with my sexiness. You're like, I think he's like 24, but he might really be 74. We're not sure. And I am definitely, if I'm just being honest with you, which I am today, I'm definitely more tired than you think I am. I've been a pastor for 29 years. I've been raising outside funding. On top of being the pastor of this church, I've had to be a fundraiser for our church for the last 14 years. And I don't know how much I have left. And we've wondered, our leadership teams have wondered, well, what happens when I leave? Like, who will we find to replace me? What about all the money I raised to keep us afloat? What happens when you take a fragile church through a difficult transition like that? So, you're probably thinking that there is an announcement coming, and you're right. I am excited to announce that we are going to become a campus of The Crossing. The Crossing is a church here in Las Vegas. You might be like, what's a campus? Some churches have multiple campuses, and so it's the same church, but they just have different locations that they all meet at, and we're going to become a campus of The Crossing. As our church leadership looked at our situation, we realized there were not a ton of options available to us, and we did not want to just shut down. If we did, it would not keep our family together. And so we approached The Crossing at the beginning of this year about the possibility of us becoming a campus, partnering together to love and serve the people of Las Vegas. We've been talking with them, praying with them for about 8 months now. And we're finally at a place where we can officially announce that it is going to happen. Now, what God's done these last years is awesome, and that is going to continue. It's going to look a little different. We will be making this transition next month. The next 3 weeks, I'm going to be sharing more of why we're doing this and what it's going to look like and why it's a good thing. But just for now, it is exciting because it allows us to keep our original vision of being all about Jesus and the people that Jesus would bring together to be a spiritual family and the mission that he gave us. This allows our family, which is what a church is, to stay together and to keep doing what Jesus has for us to do. And that's what matters. It's also exciting because of who the Crossing is. They're literally the only church that I could imagine doing this with because they're in Las Vegas and because of the close relationships we've had with them throughout our whole history and because of who they are. So the Crossing is a 23-year-old church of about 5,000 people meeting at their original location on Windmill and a second location that they established, which they call their Midtown campus, which is on Sahara, and then also online. By the way, just quick, one of the strategies that churches are taught is that you should put all of your campuses in high-income, rich suburb parts of town. There's more money there, your offerings will be greater, you'll have more stability, which will allow you to have more of an impact, which is a good strategy, I guess. But how cool is it that when the Crossing started a campus, they started a campus in a low-income neighborhood on Sahara, and that now their third campus is going to be next to a truck stop. Just a cool thing. They're kind of awesome. They're very awesome. The Crossing was one of our main original supporting financial churches. Like we wouldn't have gotten started in the beginning without them. They have awesome leadership who we have received all kinds of support from over the years. So Shane Phillip is their lead pastor. If you've been around, he spoke, we did these Saturday core conferences. He spoke at one of our core conferences. Lee Coate, their executive pastor, has worked with our staff and coached us for years. Becoming a campus is great because it's still going to be our people, right, meeting together, which has been one of our key priorities. It's like if we can't continue the way we've been, how can we continue in a way that keeps us together? And we wanted to come up with a path forward that kept our spiritual family together, and this is. And so you're going to be able to stay in your same groups with your same friends. We hope that you'll stay in your same volunteering positions. Our kids are going to still be in their same classes with their same teachers and their same friends. Our teenagers are still going to meet here on Sunday evenings for student ministry. So their services on Sunday mornings, they have a little bit different personality than ours. Some of you will like it a little bit less. Some of you will like it a little bit more. But really, yeah, it'll be a little different, but that's not a big deal because it's not supposed to be about the personality. It's about Jesus. Right? It's all about Jesus, and it will continue to be about Jesus. So as far as our church staff, Margaret is hired by the Crossing and is going to be on staff here at this location, so she'll continue to be working here. Dawson, some of you may not even know this, but Dawson makes all of our videos, like a little part-time job. He will be making videos with them, a little part-time job with them. He also has been leading our student ministry and will continue as a volunteer and will continue to lead our student ministry. Abner found a great new job that he is excited about. Ask him after the service, he'll tell you about that. The Crossing asked me about me, and I told them, man, I think I need to step away. Just to be completely honest again, I've been a church planter, a pastor now for 29 years. On top of my job as a pastor, I've been raising money for 14 years. Almost the entire 14 years, I've worked a second job, often a third job, and it has been a lot. It has been a total joy. It has been a total honor to be the pastor of this church. I wouldn't have traded it for anything. In fact, I've gotten job offers over the years, didn't even listen. It's like, nope, I love my job. And so it's been a total joy, it's been a total honor, but it's also been a lot. And so a month or so ago, I started looking for a different job. This will give you a little insight into me and into Abner. So we were both looking for jobs. We both talked to like 3, 4, 5 people. And I kept saying to my wife, what do I do if no one hires me? What do I do if no one hires me? And Abner walks into staff meeting one day and says, guys, what do I do if everyone hires me? It was like, Abner, you're so awesome. I want to be more like Abner. But I'm like me. But 2 weeks ago, I actually got a job offer. And so I'm going to be working remote. I'll be staying here in Las Vegas. I'm going to be working for a church in Kentucky and a missionary in India, just part-time. And so it's sad. It's sad because I won't be the pastor here. And I know that some of you want me to continue to be the pastor here. But eventually, I won't be your pastor, right? That's an inevitable thing. This might be happening sooner than you expected, but it was inevitable. And the Crossing has hired a great Grand Slam home run campus pastor who's going to lead our campus along with Margaret. My wife and I, at least for a while, are going to step away from this campus. We can go to any church we want to now. We're going to go to the Crossing because that's the church we would choose. We're going to go to one of the other campuses of the Crossing. So we'll still be a part of the Crossing with you, but we're going to attend a different campus for a while. Here's why. When a pastor steps down from being the pastor of a church, it is super difficult for the new pastor of the church, the new staff of the church, and the church to move on with the old pastor still there. That's been proven in countless situations. The people in the church continue to look to the old guy as their pastor, not the new guy, and if they have any complaints about changes that have been made, they all go to the old pastor and look what they're doing, and so it's just been found, man, it's better to give some space and some breathing room and step away for a while. And so we're gonna step away, maybe, I don't know, maybe for a year, something like that, we'll see. And that will give the new leader a chance to lead outside the shadow of me, the enormous shadow of me. And that's about my weight, not about my incredible leadership ability. And it will give you all and everyone a chance to move into the new, better future that God has for us. And I do believe that the future will be better. The transition is going to be sad. And yes, there might be a few unimportant changes that, I don't like that, and I don't know if we would do that song, or little things like that. But this is going to be for the best. Why? I'll share a few of the reasons. I'll share some more in the next couple weeks, but here's a few. So one of the things our church is best at is we lead lots of people who are really far from God to find Jesus. In fact, we had 30 baptisms last year. We've had 515 in 13 years. The Crossing had 444 baptisms last year. They have had about 7,000 in their 23 years. They've already, in the first 7 months of this year, had 428. And so we're going to reach more people who need Jesus because of this. They have amazing children's ministry, amazing student ministry. They do high school camp every summer like we do, but they also do a kids camp every summer, which we don't. They also do middle school camp every summer, which we don't. I am so excited to see what happens for our kids and the volunteers we have in our kids and student ministries when the Crossing starts providing all the resources that they can provide, which we just don't have. We also, I remember I said we dreamed of having a recovery ministry, but we don't. Well, now as a campus of the Crossing, we will. We'll have a Celebrate Recovery ministry, and in addition, we'll have recovery groups for trauma, divorce care, grief share, marriage, relatives of addicts. They also have specific ministries for men, like men ministries, women's ministries, young adult ministries, single ministries. We try and offer Financial Peace University, which is this awesome course. We try to offer it every other year if we can. They offer it several times every single year. Like us, the Crossing does Alpha, the Crossing does Rooted, the Crossing does small groups. They are just great at discipling people and pastoring people and raising up leaders. Like us, they love serving our city, and I believe that they're going to elevate our vision. They have 20 global partners they support and 11 local partners, and so you're going to have all kinds of opportunities to serve. In fact, it's kind of cool. The Crossing also partners with our ministry partners, Scarlet Hope, Refuge for Women, Renewing Life Center, Olive Crest. We have a bunch of the same partners. They also have, this is so cool, they have this collaborative church network where they resource and mentor newer, smaller churches in Las Vegas. So there's a bunch of churches in Las Vegas that were like we were 10, 13 years ago, new churches, and the Crossing helps them in all kinds of ways. The Crossing's name's not on any of them. The Crossing doesn't get any credit for it. They're not attached to those churches. They just help those churches and give to those churches. We do a mission trip or two every year. With the Crossing, you are going to have tons of opportunities to go on mission trips. In fact, another little cool thing is that we have this mission partner, Pro-M in Poland. They also support Pro-M, and they also do mission trips to Poland. Like us, they do mission trips every year to build houses for the homeless in Mexico. They are just so outreach-oriented. I think it's one of the main things you see about them when you look at them from the outside. So you want to hear something really cool. Some people think, big churches, they're just after money. They're just trying to get money. Well, the Crossing is all about giving money away. So they give the first 10% of all their offerings to missions. And then on top of that, they do all kinds of initiatives to support their partners. And so they give more than 10% above that. In fact, last year they gave away over $1 million, which is way more than 10% of their budget. They are awesome, and they're going to provide so much stability for us and help us to be more effective in our mission. This is a good thing. And I know that it feels like we're losing something, and we are, but man, we are gaining so much more. And a church should never be about the name on the building or the guy on the stage. It should be about Jesus and the spiritual family that Jesus brings together and the mission that he gives them. And becoming a campus of the Crossing will help us to keep Jesus as our focus, keep our family together, and keep us doing the mission. If we didn't become a campus, all of that would be in jeopardy. I keep saying church is a spiritual family because that's what it is. Not everyone thinks that way, approaches it that way, but that is what it is. And something that happens with almost every family is at some point that family merges, right? There's this marriage and two families come together. In fact, that's happening for my family this spring when my son gets married. And when that happens, there's a little sadness to that, right? Like for my family, it's always just been the four of us. We're used to that. That's who we are. That's what we do. There's some sadness, but there is way more joy, right? There's joy because, that's why you have a marriage ceremony. That's why you throw this big party, because it's a celebration, because your family is merging with another family. It's getting bigger, and so there's more joy, and that's what's happening with us. We are coming together with another part of God's family, and that is cause for joy. We have been fun, and we have been fragile, and it's still going to be fun. But this is going to help us to fortify our foundation so it's no longer fragile. And it's still going to be about Jesus and the spiritual family he's brought together and the mission he's given us. So Shane Phillip, the lead pastor of the Crossing, he wanted to be here today, and we were like, man, maybe not. Let us just be us for this announcement that we're making. And so we're going to do a meeting this Wednesday night at 6:30, and he'll be here with you. And it's going to be a little bit of an introduction, and we're going to go through some more of the details of what this is going to look like, and we're going to do a question and answer. The way that you can get your questions answered is by texting them to this phone number, 702-905-1559. If you want to get out your phone, take a picture of that or something, you can. So if you have questions, and I'm sure you will, send it to that number. We'll try to get through as many questions as we can that night. And anybody taking pictures? And Shane made a quick video just to say hi since we asked him not to be here.
Well, hey, Verve, I know you're trying to process and take in this announcement from Vince this morning. Honestly, those of us at the Crossing are so humbled and honored to be asked to be a part of Verve's future and Verve's vision of reaching people in our valley. Let me just tell you, I love your church and I love your pastor. I have followed your church since before you had a name or a location. We partnered with Verve from the very beginning, first as a financial partner for about 5 years. And since that time, I've had the opportunity to speak at your leadership conference to help train your elders. Verve has had such an incredible impact on our valley and a special place in my heart. And second, I love your pastor. Vince and I became friends about 17 years ago when I had the opportunity to hire one of the pastors from his church in Virginia Beach. Then when he and Jennifer felt called to come to Vegas, we met for coffee the very first time they came here to see if God might be leading them to start a church in Vegas. We've been friends over the years, helping to support each other, and I just love him. When Vince approached us about 6 months ago about the possibility of coming together as one church under the Crossing umbrella, I was super excited. And I'm sure you have 1,000 questions today. How is this going to work? What's it going to look like? That's why I'm looking forward to being with you this Wednesday night and sharing so much more. I hope you'll do whatever you can do to join us. I'm bringing some of our Crossing family with me, and we look forward to just being with you. I want to share this Wednesday why I believe God is in this decision and paint a picture of what I believe God could do through this exciting partnership. And we'll leave lots of time for questions and answers. So in the meantime, know that I have personally been praying for you every day for the past 6 months, and I will continue to do so in the days and the weeks ahead. I really believe that we can be better together. And my prayer is that as a result of this partnership, we can reach even more people in our valley for Jesus. I love you, Verve, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
So Matt, be here on Wednesday night. They're going to provide dessert and they're going to provide childcare if you have kids. For many of you, there's a lot to take in. Unless it's like your first week and you're like, what the crap am I doing here? But if you've been coming for a little bit, it's a lot to take in. Right now you may feel sad. Maybe you feel optimistic. You may be like, I don't even know how to feel. All of that, totally valid. Totally valid. I've had the benefit of being able to think about this and talk about this and pray and dream about this for almost 8 months now. But for most of you, this is the first time you're hearing anything about it. And so my hope is that this week you'll take time to pray through it. Just spend time with God, pray through it. One of the things I would ask you is ask God to give you his perspective on this. I'll tell you this, I love this church, and I love you. I love all of you. I want what's best for you. As our different leadership teams have been working through this the last months, Margaret and Jacob and Arlene and Scott, Abner. I was seeing people out there. He's behind me. And that's what we've been after the whole time is like, what is best? And we have had confirmation after confirmation from God that that's what this is. I hope that you are proud of what God has used our church to accomplish so far. Some of you have given sacrificially of your time and your resources. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. These first years have been life-changing for so many people, and they have built a strong foundation for the next chapter of our church, because the best is yet to come. So we're gonna sing. I don't know if you feel like singing right now. You might be like, I don't really feel like singing right now. But we need to remind ourselves of who God is and what God is doing in us and what he can do in us, okay? So we're going to sing. First we'll pray. So why don't we stand and we'll pray and then we'll sing. You know, God, it is really easy to focus on what we're losing, but what we are gaining is so much more. And even more than that is what we're not losing, which is Jesus. Jesus is our firm foundation. And no matter what happens, our faith is in him. Jesus, you're always there for us. Jesus, you are faithful to us. And everything in our lives may change, probably will change, but you never do. Jesus, you have never let us down and you never will. And so we are not shaken. Because Jesus, we put all of our trust in you. And we pray all of our prayers in your name. Amen.